Democrats say threat to democracy should be a top issue for voters. Poll after poll shows voters care about the economy a whole lot more. Double digits in terms of how people care about the economy. That's especially true in Ohio. Ohio's Democratic Senate candidate, Tim Ryan, seems to understand. He's made his campaign, he would tell you, about kitchen table issues. It's part of the reason he's trailing Republican J.D. Vance by 2 points. We're talking about a state that former President Trump won by 8 points in both 2016 and 2020. Ohio Republican Congressman Jim Jordan is here. Good to see you, sir. We appreciate it. Why do you think
Good to be with you.
Things are so close in Ohio?
Well, I don't think they're really that close. I think JD's going to win, and we're going to win every statewide election on the ballot. I think we're going to pick up congressional seats as well. So I think things look good for Republicans. I had a constituent 2 days ago tell me that he looked at his bank account, then he looked at his 401k, then he went to the grocery store, and then he stopped and filled his truck up with gas. And he said, I'm voting Republican. Because that is what inflation is doing to families. And oh, by the way, while he's filling his truck up with gas, he's also looking over his shoulder to make sure someone's not going to mug him at the gas station. So that is what's on Americans' minds. I frankly said for several weeks now, Leland, this election is about 4+ freedom, 4 key issues. We went from a secure border to no border. We went from safe streets to record crime. We went from $2 gas to $4 and $5 gas. We went from stable prices to record inflation in 21 months. And in addition to doing that, the Democrats have attacked our First Amendment liberties, our Second Amendment rights, and weaponized government against their political opposition. And that's why I think J.D. Vance is going to win, and I think there's a chance he wins big.
We'll see right now, up 2 points. You obviously listened to President Biden's speech just now, in which he sort of set up this dichotomy. Yeah. Either you're with me or you're with the election deniers. One of the people undoubtedly that he would be talking about is the Republican candidate for governor in Wisconsin. Take a listen. All right, so the Republican candidate, it's all about the acronyms, on and on. I guarantee you we will never lose another election in Wisconsin after I'm elected governor. Here's the soundbite.
It's all about the acronyms. It's all about LGBTQ and CRT and BLM. I just want to go to work, raise my family, go to church on Sunday, go to my kid's ball game, and the Democratic Party doesn't care about any of that. Republicans will never lose another election in Wisconsin after I'm elected governor.
You can take that 2 ways, but reasonable people can agree it's troubling to hear in the light of January 6th, right?
Well, I think obviously the governor of a Republican governor's candidate there in Wisconsin is talking about the policies that they're going to implement. It's going to be good for their state, and that's the point he's making. But, you know, the left always wants to turn it into something else. I was particularly bothered by what the president said, though, in his speech, Leland, when he talked. Republicans have condemned violence every single time it happened. We condemned it on January 6th. We condemned it when it took place in the summer of 2020. And we certainly condemned it when it happened this weekend to Paul Pelosi. And we wish his family, wish him a recovery, and we're praying for him. It'd have been nice if Democrats would have done the same darn thing, because in the summer of 2020, they didn't. They were out supporting the riots and the looting and the destruction that was going on. They were raising money to bail people out of jail who were arrested and who were attacking police officers, for goodness sake. And frankly, Leland, it would also have been nice if they'd have said something about the 100 churches and crisis pregnancy centers that were attacked in the aftermath of the leaked draft opinion about the life decision. It'd have been nice if they'd have condemned that violence too, but nothing. I get a little tired of the Democrats accusing Republicans. We have condemned it every single time.
No, and in fairness, I was injured in the BLM riots in 2020. I remember it, and as the president said that, I thought, well, I didn't remember a lot of discussion about violence in 2020 during the riots that happened then.
They supported it. They not only didn't condemn it, they supported it. And yet they want to talk about us.
I've given you the point.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.